In a minute, we're on the trail of Britain's most wanted.
Good evening. The headlines and what's coming up on the ITV Nightly News. The parents of the murdered schoolgirl Sarah Payne said today they will continue to support the idea of a public register of paedophiles. They've been in discussions with executives of the News of the World, the paper which has been running the campaign to name and shame offenders. Sarah's parents said people need to know who and where the sex offenders are. The Chancellor Gordon Brown announced tonight he is to marry his girlfriend Sarah Macaulay tomorrow. The couple, who've been together for more than 6 years, are to hold the ceremony in his Dunfermline East constituency. Tonight they said, "We're absolutely delighted and very happy." George W. Bush arrived in Philadelphia today, greeted by hundreds of cheering supporters. Amid the fanfare of the Republican convention, the son of the former American president was officially endorsed as the party's candidate for the presidential elections later this year. So join me at 11, but now it's over to Mary Nightingale and Dermot Murnaghan for Britain's Most Wanted.
Can you help track down the former public school girl who swapped high society for a life on the run?
That's Britain's Most Wanted coming up after the break. She's a glamorous former public school girl who swapped high society for a life on the run. Can you track down a woman who's evaded police for more than 7 years?
Welcome to Britain's Most Wanted, where we ask for your help to find some of the country's most elusive fugitives.
Coming up on tonight's programme, an arsonist is engulfed in a ball of fire. Can you help police hunt him down?
Also tonight, she was just 22 years old and pregnant when her lifeless body was found in a ditch. But did the murderer make a fatal blunder?
If we can find who made the duvet, it could lead us to the killer.
And the story of how one viewer led police to the man who did this.
But first, it should have been the end of an enjoyable night out for a group of friends, minding their own business as they returned home from a nightclub. But an unprovoked attack has left a young man needing major surgery to rebuild his face. The assault was captured on video thanks to the diligence of an astute CCTV camera operator. It's the early hours of the morning and a group of friends are returning home after a night out in the Hampshire town of Fleet. Behind them are 2 men. A suspicious CCTV operator decides to track them. As the 3 friends make their way along Fleet Road, the 2 men close in. One distracts them from behind while the other attacks. He punches the man in black t-shirt hard on the side of the face. The same attacker then lunges at the second man, sending him crashing backwards through a shop window. The attacker and his accomplice then run off laughing in the direction of Fleet High Street. The CCTV operator never gets a clear shot of the attackers, but luckily detectives have another major lead. Earlier in the evening, the men are seen entering Jack's nightclub. The attacker is described as 5 foot 10 inches tall, with short blonde hair and a balding patch. He was also stocky and wore a black t-shirt and jeans. His accomplice is described as being between 6 foot and 6 foot 2 inches tall, having short black curly hair, a stocky build and wearing a short-sleeved black and white checked shirt. If you recognise either of these men, please call the incident room on 01256 405 061. That's 01256 405 061. Or you can call us here at the studio on 08700 106 999, where police officers and members of the Britain's Most Wanted team are ready to take your calls. One of our producers, Joe Scarrett, will be coordinating those calls tonight and updating us throughout the programme. And don't forget, you can also email us at mostwanted@granadamedia.com, and our website, www.itv.co.uk, will keep you updated on the latest developments in all our cases.
The man police are looking for in our next appeal probably thinks he's got away with murder. Marie Ball, a young mother, was strangled and left in a ditch. But the killer may have made one fatal mistake. Police believe that blunder, coupled with your help, could lead them to the killer.
When the lifeless body of a young woman was dragged from this water-filled ditch, police found themselves dealing with a double tragedy. 22-year-old Marie Ball was 5.5 months pregnant, expecting her second child.
There isn't a word I can think of to describe anybody that would do that to any other human being.
Whoever was responsible for dumping her body in this East London sewer may have thought the filthy waters would cover up the crime. They were wrong. Police now believe the duvet cover in which Marie's body was wrapped could hold the answer.
The duvet is the key to our inquiry. If we can find who made the duvet, it could lead us to the killer.
Marie was a young woman who, having married a Sikh man, took on the Sikh religion. She was living in East Ham, a very slight build, 7 stone, and yet she was murdered in a very horrific and violent way. She was strangled, but she was strangled so violently that her windpipe was broken. And that's a very unusual thing to happen. Extreme force used to kill her.
She was a devoted mother. She loved her son. Her son was her life. That's all she lived for. And when she was carrying.
On March the 17th this year, just a few months after this video was taken, Marie mysteriously vanished from her home in South London. There followed an intensive police hunt for a missing person.
We have no movements for her on the 17th, the day that she went missing. We know that she had a doctor's appointment at 11:30 and she didn't turn up for that. But she wasn't reported missing until 4:30 when she failed to turn up to pick up her son. Now, I know that Marie would never have left her son. If she could have got to pick him up, she would have done. At that time, she'd either been taken captive or she'd been killed.
6 weeks after she went missing, the investigation took a dramatic turn when her body was discovered in an old waterway in Jenkins Lane in Beckton, East London.
This is where the body of Marie was discovered. As you can see, this door here is always locked, so no one could have brought the body through here. The area is surrounded by high fences. However, if the body was dumped or abandoned here, it would have been via the car park here or the bridge over here to my left.
But one alternative police theory is that the body was dumped in the water on the other side of the A13 and because of heavy rainfall may have floated down. This stretch of waterway is much more accessible.
This is a very common thoroughfare for people and cyclists. It looks as if you could get a vehicle down here, but in fact you couldn't, because up to our left there was bollards blocking this out, so it would have been impossible for a vehicle to come down. So if anyone actually came this way, they'd have had to have carried the body a considerable distance to here and then abandoned the body here and likely in the tunnel which is underneath here. It's the most secluded spot.
Cast your mind back. Did you see any one person or more than one person acting suspiciously in the area in March or April?
Marie always wore a lot of Asian jewellery, and it would be very unusual for her to go out or even to be indoors without wearing this jewellery. Now, when her body was found, she had no jewellery on her apart from her nose stud. I don't believe that she was killed as a result of a robbery. But I do think that the jewellery is key to this. Her jewellery has gone somewhere. Somebody knows something about it.
But the clue that may unmask the murderer may lie here at the Forensic Science Laboratory. For the last few months, lab staff have been concentrating their efforts on the painstaking process of cleaning the duvet in which Marie was found.
The duvet was in a very poor condition. It was very dirty, it was torn, there was algae on the duvet. We carried out a full clean-up of the duvet, short of actually putting it in a washing machine. We'd firstly use a taping technique, which is very simple but effective, very Blue Peter, in fact. We place pieces of standard sellotape across the duvet in a systematic fashion. We would then use a stiff brush to remove any remaining silt and debris.
Bit by bit, they were able to reveal the cloth was handmade with a floral pattern. What's more, the killer had tied a knot in the duvet, which may prove to be his undoing.
That knot, although being very simple, did help us because in opening out the knot, it clearly protected part of the duvet, so that area was a lot cleaner, and clearly there were more extraneous fibres and other pieces of material there that were going to be of help to us.
I want the public to help me with the jewellery. Where is that jewellery now? I want the public to help me with when and how Marie came to be in that water. I want the public to help me with the duvet. Where did the duvet come from? I think the answer is in the Asian community of East Ham. I want those people to come forward and help me.
Well, DCI Peter Shipp is leading the hunt for the killer. Now, you say that you're appealing particularly to the Asian community. Why is that?
Well, Marie was a young white woman born in South London, but she had become a Sikh, taken on the Sikh religion. She spoke Punjabi and had become an integral part of the Asian community. And I believe that the answers lie within the Asian community in either East or South London.
Now, you also say you're interested in any suspicious movements around Jenkins Lane, where, of course, the body was found. But you're not sure exactly when Marie was killed. Is that right?
That's right. Marie went missing on the 17th of March, but her body wasn't found until the 26th of April. Now, we don't know when she was killed, and her body could have been dumped in Jenkins Lane at any time during that 6-week period. So anybody with any relevant information would help the inquiry by coming forward.
All right, to return finally to that duvet cover, which was very distinctive, wasn't it?
Yes, this is not a mass-produced duvet. It's handmade, it's unique, and it's my belief that that duvet will lead us directly to the killer.
So if anyone recognises that duvet, to get in touch?
To get in touch straight away, yes.
All right, DCI Shipp, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
If anyone has any information that might help police, then please call the incident room on 020 8345 4356. That's 020 8345 4356. Or, of course, call us here in the studio.
Now, he's a man that police must find. He's called John Kluark, and he's in the first of tonight's Most Wanted files.
Police in Shrewsbury urgently want to track down Kluark to assist their inquiries into alleged indecency offences with children. Kluark has two distinctive tattoos, a dagger through two hearts on his right arm and a heart with the name Douglas on his left arm. He also owns a blue Renault Master van, registration H46BNB. Have you seen it? If you can help, call 01743 232 888. That's 01743 232 888. Of course, police can't solve crime alone, and if it wasn't for the swift response of one of our viewers from the last series, the man responsible for a vicious hit and run might never have been caught. This is the aftermath of a brutal hit and run in Bromley in Kent. Fitness instructor Tim Bassett was lucky to live after an unknown man deliberately ran him over.
I had 100 stitches to my face. I had to have a metal plate inserted in my face to hold that together. There's a hole at the bottom of my eye socket, which meant my eyes dropped down.
The attack happened after Mr. Bassett and a group of friends had stopped at a kebab shop following a night out. A man in the kebab shop took offence at an innocent comment by one of Mr. Bassett's friends and wanted revenge as the group walked home. Yet, despite an intensive investigation lasting many months, detectives still had no idea who the driver was.
I was at a stage in the latter part of 1998 where we'd explored every avenue that was open to us. We were virtually at a blank. There was nowhere else to go.
However, an appeal on Britain's Most Wanted brought a flood of calls, including the vital one which identified Paul Jenkins as the driver.
We knew when that call came in that it was a very significant one. We were given information that only someone that actually knew the suspect would have known.
Jenkins was arrested, charged and later found guilty of grievous bodily harm with intent and jailed for 6 years.
The fact that he's behind bars now is made me feel a lot more relaxed, and at the same time just pleased that it's not likely to happen to somebody else.
Well, it's time for us to take a break now, but coming up, don't be fooled by her charm and good looks. She goads the police and is a master at laying false trails. Do you know the whereabouts of Fiona Mont?
Fiona is a very intelligent, a very polished individual that puts across a very plausible persona, and I can certainly see how people can be taken in by her completely.
streamlining branches for my benefit and convenience.
My bank's intensive management realignment program means I never see the same business manager twice.
My bank will now be charging monthly fees on arranged overdrafts.
My bank's just launched FriedBacon.com, a completely separate e-banking account.
Oh dear, my bank is now a trendy wine bar.
Crave a fresh, cool breeze? Introducing new Super Fresh Impulse Oxygen Air. Oxygen Air, inspired in the 70s by the oxygen tanks worn by the women of Katoki, Japan. Simply apply Super Fresh Oxygen Air all over your body. Now, introducing Impulse Oxygen Side. Oxygen Side feels like an intense blast of pure oxygen. It's like cold air being blown all over your body by a Freshatronic system. Impulse Oxygen Air Inside. Mobile freshness that's a breeze.
Summerfield Price Check 2000 punnets of peaches, nectarines or plums. Buy any one, get one free.
You on a diet?
Don't be daft. What about the Rogan Ghost?
Nah.
Have you tried it?
Nah.
I wasn't looking forward to coming, but when I did get here, I found out how good it really was.
Mind-blowing. I was very impressed.
It was magical.
Nobody should miss it.
If you've got a mind of your own, take it to the Dome.
Can you help your dog look and feel healthier by what you feed him? You can, if it's new Pedigree Dry with Fortivil. A blend of nutrients fortified with biotin for a health you can see and feel in his coat. Builds health on the inside, you can see on the outside. Pedigree.
Take this new high-performance Astra Coupe, load it up with an average family, and the handling will suffer. To prove this, I'll be mother, and my colleagues here will be my husband and children. As you can see, the car is now unresponsive.
No, it isn't. Thanks to the enhanced chassis and upgraded springs and dampers.
And the lowered sports suspension. And... Quiet in the back! Don't cheek your mother.
Vauxhall, raising the standard.
She's tried to fake her own death and has fled with a pilot known as the Baron. Coming up, the remarkable story of the hunt for Fiona Mont. But first, an update on your calls.
Yes, Jo, how's it going?
We've had lots of calls coming into the studio this evening, and the email system is working very well too.
You have got something on the Marie Ball case, haven't you? Tell us about that.
We have. We've had a number of calls coming into the studio actually saying where the material was manufactured, which is a great lead for the police. And we've also had people saying possibly where the material was bought from.
Well, that's good stuff. What about the town centre attack in Fleet? Anything on that?
We've actually had names given for both suspects on that this evening, which the police are very happy with.
All right, terrific news. But keep the calls coming?
Of course.
All right, thanks, Jo.
Now, it's a crime that could so easily have ended in death, and not just for innocent members of the public, but surprisingly for the attacker himself.
This is the dramatic moment when an arsonist is nearly engulfed by a ball of fire. Miraculously, he's able to run off after hurling in a petrol bomb at Mario's Pizza in Mill Street, Driffield, just outside Hull. The explosion in the early hours of June the 12th caused thousands of pounds worth of damage.
This was a very, very serious attack indeed. There were people sleeping in houses very close to the scene, and we are very fortunate indeed that we're not dealing with something significantly more serious than we are.
Police are still investigating the motive.
The person involved in this crime may have sustained some injuries whilst being engulfed in the fireball. They may have sustained some damage to the hair, some burning to the face or to the eyelashes, to the eyelids.
If you think you can help, please call Driffield Police on 01377 253 332. That's 01377 253 332.
And don't forget, you can email us or call us live here in the studio.
They're some of Britain's most wanted fugitives, but with your help, their days on the run could be numbered.
David Smith, who's been charged with the murder of a 35-year-old man, is on the run from police in London. He has distinctive scars below his right eye, in the centre of his forehead and on his left hand. Smith is due to appear at the Old Bailey in September, but has fled. If you have any information, call 020 7275 4344. That's 020 7275 4344. Now, she was the young woman with everything: money, brains, good looks and a first-class education. But today, a dramatic fall from grace. She's gone on the run with a pilot known as the Baron after trying to fake her own death. Can you help track her down?
This is the story of a game of cat and mouse. Fiona Mont has been toying with the police for years, mocking their investigations and laying numerous false trails.
Fiona is very intelligent, a very polished individual that puts across a very plausible persona, and I can certainly see how people can be taken in by her completely.
The probe into Mont, who was wanted in connection with a series of major frauds, has been a 7-year saga. But last September it took a surprise twist when Detective Steve Skerritt went looking for a family computer.
I saw what looked like an outstanding offer and went round to an address in Hove, where I met Fiona for the first time. My impression of Fiona was one of a confident business-type lady.
But it emerged that the computer he was about to buy was at the centre of a massive fraud involving stolen office equipment. But suppliers and customers were ripped off to the tune of hundreds of thousands of pounds.
We got a search warrant, and on the Monday, rather than go back down there and buy the computer system, we actually went down there and raided her flat.
Mont was arrested in connection with the fraud and taken to Steyning police station in Sussex. It was an extraordinary fall from grace for a woman who had all the advantages of a privileged upbringing. Mont was born and raised in an exclusive part of Lewes in East Sussex. She came from one of the most prominent families in the area. An entry in Debrett's reveals that her mother was the leader of East Sussex County Council, while her father was a partner in a top law firm. But his daughter had always played games with the law. After her arrest, Mont was released on police bail, but that didn't stop her phoning up the man who'd just taken her into custody.
And during that conversation, she happened to drop in the sentence, "Would you like to come round for a glass of wine?" that evening. It took me a bit back by surprise. I've never been invited round for wine before, under those circumstances anyway. And I declined the offer, telling her that it's not very professional. She assured me that we wouldn't talk about the case in question, but nevertheless the offer was declined.
DC Skerritt isn't the only man to have encountered Mont's inimitable style. For 7 years, DC Dave West had made it his personal quest to investigate her activities, but she subjected him to a barrage of taunts.
Things have developed to be quite a game of cat and mouse between myself and Fiona, and on at least one occasion I did receive a fax from her home address sent to the Dave West fan club, which contained numerous comical observations, all at my expense.
Her next correspondence, under an assumed name, was even more audacious.
On another occasion I received this, which is in fact a cheque drawn on a bank account opened in the name of Miss A. Miller, drawn for £1 million. And her comment to me in a later conversation was that I should hang on to the cheque because it could prove to be good for the full value in due course.
While Mont was on police bail, the story took an extraordinary twist when her car was found abandoned at a well-known suicide spot, Beachy Head. The Coast Guard and police helicopters launched a major search operation.
Finally, Fiona's mother stated that she'd received a phone call from Fiona 2 days after the car had been found, and that obviously proved to us that Fiona was still alive and hadn't done anything silly.
Then police received information that she was spotted leaving the area in a light aircraft.
She'd flown out from Shoreham Airport, we believe, to the continent with another man, a man that used to run a flying school down at Shoreham Airport.
The man was Graham Hesketh, also known as the Baron. A convicted drug smuggler, he had recently served 4 years in jail. Police believe the flight was made to lay a false trail. They're now certain the couple are back in Britain, but the question is, where? Tracking down Mont is never easy.
Fiona is very adept at covering her tracks, typically by changing the names that she uses or adopting aliases. Frances Montgomery, Alison Miller, Jacqueline Mayhew and Jamina Chadwick. And at one time the electoral roll for her basement flat in Hove had 8 different names of persons that were all supposed to be living there at the same time.
And it's not just her name that changes.
During the search of the flat, we in fact found these 2 wigs. As you can see, is a blonde one and a redhead. And as we do not believe these were for her boyfriend's use, we believe they're for her use. It obviously shows that she can change her appearance.
But it's not only Fiona that's gone missing. Large quantities of the goods connected with the fraud have also disappeared.
We went to search 2 commercial containers. We expected them to be full of property, computers, laptops and furniture. When we got there, they were in fact empty. And these 2 items were the only thing that we could find in there, which was 2 smiley faces. Obviously somebody's got a sense of humour.
Well, Sussex Police have set up an incident room for that case. The number is 0845 60 70 999. You can email us, of course, or you can call us in the studio.
And remember, all of tonight's cases are featured on our website if you want a closer look. Now, here's tonight's final Most Wanted file. Smooth-talking Sikiru Egunbiade, also known as Yinka, Tunde or Tony, is wanted for questioning by police in Derbyshire, who suspect him of being involved in a massive bank fraud involving dozens of people and hundreds of thousands of pounds. He's 29 years old, has close-cropped hair and sometimes wears gold-rimmed spectacles. If you know of Egunbiade's whereabouts, then call us here on 08700 106 999. That's 08700 106 999. Now, final look at your calls so far tonight. We've got some more information on the Marie Ball murder in East London, some lead on the possible shops where that duvet material was bought, and a sighting of 2 men close to Jenkins Lane acting suspiciously. On the Fleet Road assault in Hampshire, a lot of people have called in with names for both of those suspects.
Well, that's about all we have time for tonight, but we'll be back next week with more appeals.
And we'll be on the trail of the Cash Point robbers.
Please do keep those calls coming in, or if you'd prefer, call Crime Stoppers anonymously on 0800 555 111. You can find details of all tonight's cases on teletext page 655. But for now, good night.
Good night.